Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the graduation ceremony for the graduates of the Faculty of Commerce and Management and the Graduate School of Management. In a few minutes, the graduation ceremony will commence. The procession of staff will enter first. After a brief pause, the university fanfares will announce the entry of the dais party. I will signal to you by this action that you are to rise and remain standing until both the staff procession and the dais party are seated. Please do not stand until I ask you. May I also remind you that flash photography is prohibited in this auditorium. For the mutual comfort and enjoyment of all members of the audience, the university requests your cooperation in observing this rule. Thank you.
Fellow members of Griffith University Council, Professor Roy Webb, Vice-Chancellor of Griffith University, Councillor Dawn Critchlow of the Gold Coast City Council, Mr. Peter Hobart, Chair of the University's Gold Coast Advisory Council, and other members of the Advisory Council, staff and students of the university, including the graduating students, special guest, Professor Ashley Goldsworthy. Ladies and gentlemen, as Chancellor of Griffith University, I'm pleased to welcome everyone, and I thank you for joining us on this special occasion. Graduation ceremonies are part of the rich tradition of universities worldwide. They allow public acknowledgement of the achievements of graduating students and afford an opportunity for family, friends and peers to join in celebration of those achievements. In a time when the relevance of many of society's traditional ceremonials is being questioned, we at Griffith believe that this formal recognition of our graduates is a tradition that will endure. Our graduates will shortly come forward to be individually acknowledged. We will share their pride, and I offer warmest congratulations to each of them. This afternoon we extend a special welcome to Professor Ashley Goldsworthy, AO, OBE. Professor Goldsworthy has had considerable experience as a leader in business and in tertiary education. He's currently Executive Director of the Business Higher Education Roundtable and also holds an appointment as Adjunct Professor at Griffith. We're pleased that Professor Goldsworthy has joined us this afternoon, and we shall look forward to his address later in the proceedings. Many of you may not be aware that Griffith is now the 8th largest university in Australia in terms of funded student load. We're a multi-campus institution with 6 campuses operating in the Brisbane Gold Coast corridor, and we have more than 21,500 students enrolled in an extensive array of undergraduate and postgraduate courses. Our campuses are situated in the fastest growing region of Australia. Whereas some other states have experienced a decline in student demand for tertiary education, the opposite has been true in Queensland. In recent years, Griffith and the other universities in Queensland have actively lobbied federal and state governments, presenting a strong case for additional funded places. Our efforts have resulted in over 3,000 new undergraduate places being awarded to Griffith for the period 1995 to 1999. 60% of these places have been allocated to the university's Gold Coast campus and the remainder to our new campus at Logan. We are pleased with this outcome, but we will continue to argue the case for additional places to ensure that the community we serve has the best possible access to tertiary education. Over the past 6 years, the university's Gold Coast campus has experienced particularly rapid growth, and student numbers have more than doubled. They've grown from over 2,600 in 1992 to over 6,300 this year. The growth in student numbers has been accompanied by a significant increase in the range of courses offered at the campus and in the appointment of senior academic staff at associate professor and professorial level. These senior staff, who have international reputations in their disciplines, provide leadership in course development and in the campus's growing research profile. To accommodate the growth in student and staff numbers, the university has allocated some $50 million to support a major building program at this campus. The major part of these funds was drawn from the university's capital reserves. Those of you familiar with the campus from its days as the Gold Coast College of Advanced Education will particularly appreciate the very great improvement in buildings and infrastructure that has resulted from this capital investment. In the past year, new lecture theatres, library, administration building, visual arts building, drama theatre and specialised research laboratories have been completed. Planning for further buildings and specialised teaching space is underway. I should like to acknowledge the involvement of our student body at the Gold Coast in the provision of facilities at the campus. The Student Guild has contributed to funding for the Link Building and Colours Cafe and has provided a number of recreational facilities. Students and staff enjoy the benefits of catering, commercial and recreational services managed by the Student Guild. All are grateful for that commitment to the development of the campus. A microwave link has been installed at a cost of some $1 million to provide state-of-the-art telecommunication links between the university's Nathan, Mount Gravatt, Logan and Gold Coast campuses. This telecommunications backbone provides high-speed transmission of image, sound and data between the campuses and provides a great degree of flexibility in delivery and access to information for teaching, research and administrative purposes. A further $1.5 million has been spent on improvements to the campus network infrastructure. The development of courses and subjects in flexible learning modes, including interactive multimedia through the internet, is a particular feature of our Logan campus. The university intends to expand flexible learning opportunities to all campuses, and the microwave link will be an integral feature of this plan. The university's pride in its Gold Coast campus is self-evident. Our range of undergraduate courses attracts high-caliber students, and enrolments in research higher degrees are steadily increasing. There are over 1,000 international students enrolled at this campus. These students are actively involved in all facets of campus life, and their annual United Colours evening showcases the cultural diversity of the campus. The research profile has been considerably enhanced through the work of the Cooperative Research Centre for Sustainable Tourism, with its headquarters at the Gold Coast campus. Organisations participating in the Cooperative Research Centre include the University of Queensland, the Southern Cross University, James Cook University, the Northern Territory University, the University of Sydney, the Australian Federation of Travel Agents, the Tourism Council of Australia, the Queensland Department of the Environment, and the Queensland Tourism and Travel Corporation. Molecular genetic researchers in the School of Health Sciences are undertaking a $2.4 million research project funded by Gemini Research, a British-based company which is developing an international database system to house clinical information concerning genetic patterns in twins and their siblings. Griffith is the first Australian university to join the Pacific Rim Consortium for International Business Education and Research. Consortium membership is drawn from 27 elite universities in 11 countries to further develop international business education. Membership of the consortium provides opportunities for staff and student exchange between member institutions. This membership will be of particular interest to students enrolled in the Faculty of Commerce and Management and the Graduate School of Management. Members of the consortium and the range of exchange agreements that exist between Griffith and universities worldwide will assist our students in obtaining work experience with multinational firms in employment abroad. Let me return now to our graduating students. We're here this afternoon to give them the recognition that is their due. With their studies now complete, they're ready to receive their awards. All will have acquired the knowledge and skills called for in their chosen fields of endeavour. More importantly, they will also have acquired a set of generic learning skills. An ability to critically analyse information and form considered opinions will remain with them throughout their lives. I congratulate all of them on their achievements and express our warmest wishes for success in their future careers. I now call on the Pro-Vice-Chancellor, Business and Equity, Professor Margaret Gardner, to introduce the Deans who will present the graduates from their faculties who are to receive their awards at this ceremony. Thank you.
Chancellor, Professor Peter Brosnan, Dean of the Faculty of Commerce and Management.
Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Arts in Psychology. Tammy Fuller. Toby Gardner. Angela Green. Rebecca Heffernan. Benjamin Isakan. Rosemary Mackin. Wendy Newman. Reena Natha Singh. Jodie Payton. Craig Paulette. Judith Reynolds. Sarah Roth. Diane Spiteri. Yvette Studdock. Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Business. Julie Adams. Aaron Anderson. Sandra Anderson. Charlene Anderson. Anne Archibald. Rebecca Akuri. Jaspreet Bassi. Kelly Bassine. Renee Bernays. Sarah Boyce. Catherine Bransden. Matthew Brown. Rhett Buckley. Mavis Burns. Helen Bush. Elizabeth Kablada. Rachel Callahan. Amanda Keir. Bill Chan. Aaron Chapman. Chin Fung. Chen Yi Fan. Cameron Chicken. Chung Chihui. Loretta Clancy. Darren Clark. Emma Clark. Jamie Cockerell. Christopher Cole. Robert Conley. Karen Constantinou. Carly Cross. Tracy Dara. Nadia Davies. Eugene De Soma. Peter Debelak. Sarah Denny. Paula Driscoll. Adam Finster. Morris Fisher. Jason Fountain. Laurel Frauenfelder. Rochelle First. Fiona Galletley. Ross Garrett. Tracy Kim Gillard. David Glanville. Angus Glenn. Hayley Glennie. Michelle Goldbach. Linda Griffiths. Condon Ham Nam. Michael Harris. Amber Hedgecock. Travis Hill. Jason Hones. Claire Holtzbaum. Denny Honnes. Cherie Hovey. Jian Sumi. Anne-Marie Johansson. Tracy Johnson. Anthony Jukes. Alison Kerrigan. Solomon Kim. Sandra Clarick. Anita Kwok. Marina Lee. Mike Lee. Lara Liddell. David Limkin. Emma Lord. Ian McMahon. Vicky Marshall. Kylie Jane Matheson. Bradley Mercer. Rishi Muir. Helen Michael. Cameron Moyer. Brett Morgan. Michael Moulton. Wei-Han Mui. Stacey Muir. Cassandra Murphy. Tabitha Murray. Troy Niebling. Ryan Norrie. Anita O'Brien. Shane Oswald. Jamie Osey. Paul Owens. Diane Palmer. Pang Yu Kwan. Anna Paramonov. Cherie Paul. David Pierce. Amanda Perrott. Charmaine Peters. David Pickford. Bianca Postma. Caroline Power. Harry Proskophalis. Lyndon Rivel. Benjamin Ricks. Cassandra Roney. Monica Roosley. Natalie Schultz. Narelle Scott. Anna So. Kate Symes. Leanne Sletcher. Sharon Smith. Scott Sustenance. Eddie Sutikno. Mark Sutton. Paul Swain. Leah Shmanovsky. Starsky Tan. Gary Threlfall. Amanda Tidmarsh. Chris Toward. Davina Song. Sharon Turnbull. Jim Venn. Diane Walsh. Mark Walton. Mark Waters. Anthony Wise. Michael Whitehead. Andrew Willsmore. Donna Wilson. Margaret Wolski. Kiri Wong. Chris Yee. Lily Yip. Jared Young. Chancellor, I present graduates who've been granted the Bachelor of Business with First Class Honours. Trevor Arthurson. Robin Ann Cameron. Wendy James. Lisa McManus. Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Business and Bachelor of Arts, Japanese. Lara Callison. Felicity Cooper. Leanne Turnbull. Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Business and Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, Reagan Lauder. Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Business in Professional Golf Management, Andrew Baldwin. Paul Dundas. David Ekberg. Ryan Hardiker. Anthony Holdway. Park Yong-ho. James Stokes. Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of International Finance, John Kominos. Corey Dawson. Chancellor, the next graduate has also been awarded the International Finance Medal for 1997 for outstanding academic achievement, Sarah Fryer. Katie Ingwerson. Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Psychology with first-class honours, Michelle Bouquet. Graham Deeth. Amanda Duffy. Leanne Fendley. Deborah Flesser. Debbie Litherland. Patricia Purnell Webb. Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Psychology with second-class honours, Division A, Tracy Bloxham. Lorenzo Chernica. Judith Griffiths. Carla Johnston. Christine Keevers. Susan Malor. Craig Pearman. Patricia Walker. Jodie Watkins. Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Psychology with second-class honours, Division B, Michael Bradford. Chancellor, I present graduates who've been granted the Graduate Diploma of Psychology. Jennifer Muller. Sue Perry. Lisa Thompson. Jennifer Turner. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates of the Faculty of Commerce and Management.
Chancellor, Professor Greg Bamber, Director of the Graduate School of Management.
Chancellor, I present graduates who've been granted the Master of Business Administration, the MBA. Louisa Darietta. Piyaporn Chandra Umporn. Christina Dean. Ian Gordon. Jennifer Jones. Tensu Koo. Donald Logan. Madhu Veeraragwan. I.D. Wong. Chancellor, I'm especially pleased to be able to present for the first time graduates who've been granted the new award of MBA with distinction. Wendy Rushton. Scott Weaven. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates of the Graduate School of Management.
Ladies and gentlemen, there will now be a brief musical interlude performed by the Griffith University Collegiate Singers.
Glory
I call upon the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Roy Webb, to introduce the guest speaker.
Chancellor, our guest of honour, Professor Ashley Goldsworthy, has had a long and illustrious career both in the business world and the higher education sector. Born in Culcairn, New South Wales, Professor Goldsworthy completed a Bachelor of Commerce degree at the University of Queensland in 1960 and a Master of Science at Griffith University in 1980. In 1967, Professor Goldsworthy became the Director of Economic Statistics in the Australian Bureau of Statistics in the Brisbane office and then the Canberra office. During this period, he was one of those who pioneered the introduction of computing in the federal government. In 1970, Professor Goldsworthy joined the State Government Insurance Office to oversee a period of computerisation, as well as a number of other duties which led to his appointment as Deputy Chief Executive Officer. In 1979, Professor Goldsworthy was appointed the Chief Executive Officer in the Suncorp Building Society, and in the succeeding years built the Society into a leading competitor within the retail banking industry. In 1987, he joined Jennings Group Limited as the Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director. During this time, he was also Executive Director of Jennings Properties Limited and was instrumental in the restructuring of that company. In 1988, as a member of the Business Council of Australia, Professor Goldsworthy became the chairman of the Council's Education and Training Committee. In this capacity, he founded the Business Higher Education Round Table in 1990. In 1991, Professor Goldsworthy was appointed the Dean of the Business School at Bond University and Professor of Leadership. During his 6 years at Bond University, he also served as Chairman of Academic Senate and Acting Vice-Chancellor. In 1996, Professor Goldsworthy became the President of the Business Higher Education Round Table and was recently appointed its Executive Director. Professor Goldsworthy has worked on the boards of a number of listed companies, accumulating 22 years of experience in industries spanning such areas as insurance, banking, construction, housing, property development, gaming, tourism, nursing homes, retirement villages and hotel management. He has been active in a number of professional associations and professional and industry bodies. In 1986-87, he was the World Vice President of the International Union of Building Societies and Savings Associations. He has served terms as the President, the Executive Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Australian Computer Society. From 1986 to 1989, Professor Goldsworthy was the World President of the International Federation for Information Processing. He was the Chairman of the 1980 World Computer Congress in Melbourne and the 1996 World Computer Congress in Canberra. He was Chairman of the Federal Government's Information Industries Task Force, which produced last year the report now known as the Goldsworthy Report. This report mapped out a national information industry strategy for Australia. Professor Goldsworthy is a fellow of a number of institutes, including the Australian Institute of Management, Institute of Chartered Accountants in Australia, and the Royal Institute of Public Administration, Australia. He was awarded an OBE in 1982 for services to the computing profession. In 1991, he was made an Officer of the Order of Australia for distinguished service to information technology. In 1998, as our Chancellor has mentioned, he was made an Adjunct Professor of Griffith University. It is with great pleasure that I welcome Professor Goldsworthy here this afternoon, and I now invite him to deliver the occasional address.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, distinguished guests, academic colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, and graduates. Congratulations to the graduates on so recently joining the alumni of Griffith University, and thank you, Vice-Chancellor, for that very generous and extremely well-researched introduction. Let me address my remarks this afternoon to the newest graduates of Griffith University, and I'm honoured to have been asked to deliver this occasional address this afternoon, and doubly honoured, of course, as a graduate of Griffith University myself. Each and every one of you has, throughout your life, set yourself goals, things you wanted to achieve which you thought were important. Being here today and graduating and did not just happen. You set yourself the goal of completing a course of study, and today you reap the reward, success. Now you open another chapter of your life, and you will, or perhaps already have, set yourself goals for the future. You have talent, you have intelligence, and you have the opportunity. The question I ask of you is, are you aiming high enough? I suspect not. Take those goals you have set yourself and expand them. Dwell on the fact that most people only ever use a fraction of the potential they have. Make a promise to yourself today that you will not be one of them. That you will extend yourself at every opportunity. You will grasp every challenge and shake it until you have reached your goal. Above all else, dream big. Never lose sight of what you want to achieve. Never lower your sights. above all, never be seduced by the all too familiar Australian credo that near enough is good enough. We have become a society overwhelmed by materialism and greed. The credo of ego and self rules supreme. We are probably the only society in the world where one can leave school, go on a dole and stay there until old enough to receive the old age pension. And in the intervening period enjoy not only the luxury of sun, sand and sea, but also resist all efforts to be dragged kicking and screaming into the world of work because we don't like the uniform or we have to cut our hair. In industry we are a joke with our rostered days off, our flexi time, our demarcation disputes, our holiday loadings and our strikes. Elitism has become a dirty word in the Australian lexicon. We see today in this country a thrust towards a mind-numbing mediocrity, the uniformity of mediocrity. And the much-treasured moray of egalitarianism has been translated into a rigorous search for uniformity. We talk about excellence, but we are doing our damnedest to stifle it. As graduates of Griffith University, you should not resile from the fact that you are part of an elite. An intellectual elite, not a social elite, which is an abhorrent concept, but an intellectual elite, which is something every country needs. Be proud of it. You have been given opportunities others have not, to broaden your mind, to extend your horizons beyond the mundane and the ordinary. I hope all of you will be able to look back on your days at university as a period in which your mind was open to new ideas, new disciplines, new attitudes, and to new thought processes. The years that you have spent at Griffith are a very small part of your life. To equate only this portion of life to learning would be a shameful waste of your God-given talents. Your years at university are pivotal years in your life. They provide a base on which you will build your future life and careers. We all know that change is inevitable, but change has changed. We live in a world where the past no longer prepares us for the future. We are no longer a one-chance society. Unlike your parents, in your lifetime you'll have several chances to build different careers. But how do we prepare you for those careers in life when half the jobs that will exist in 2020 have not been invented or even thought of yet? How do we prepare for that? A love of learning will keep your curiosity alive. It will help you adapt. It will help you to learn new knowledge and skills. It will help you become lifelong learners. This love of learning, this lifelong curiosity, will only be kept alive if you have the courage to do what you want to do rather than what others want you to do. Do not be afraid to accept challenge. Even more than that, go out of your way to find challenges. Life is a constant challenge, and you have been equipped by education to cope more effectively with those challenges. Above all, be not afraid of failure. Failure is the furnace of the soul in which your character, your determination and your commitment will be forged. Above all, failure will test your integrity, your ability to be true to yourself and to others in difficult circumstances. You undoubtedly come from a diversity of backgrounds and you will be pursuing a diversity of careers. But there is one aspect of life that is common to you all, one aspect that will forever determine your relationship with your fellow beings, and this is integrity. And without integrity, you have nothing. Failure will test your willingness and your capacity to put principles before pride, to put truth before excuses, and to put self-esteem before all else. Failure is often the precursor to success. Did you know, for example, that Martina Navratilova lost 21 of her first 24 matches against arch rival Chris Evans, and she resolved to hit more freely on the big points and she beat Everett for 39 out of the next 57 matches. And no woman tennis professional has ever won as many matches or as many tournaments as Navratilova. And did you know that Abraham Lincoln failed twice in business and was defeated in 6 state and national elections before being elected President of the United States? And did you know that Theodore Geisel's, that's Dr. Seuss, first children's book was rejected by 23 publishers? The 24th publisher sold 6 million copies. Aim high, dream big. You have been given the opportunity to broaden your mind, to enhance your perception of life, to learn specific skills. You have been given the opportunity to embrace the knowledge of others and to develop those capabilities and talents which make you as an individual different from all other individuals. You have been given the opportunity to nurture man's most precious possession, his intellect, his power to reason, to choose between good and evil, to add to mankind's accumulation of knowledge and experience since time began. To put this to the best use, to do justice to your God-given abilities, aim high and dream big. In the light of my background, as outlined in the introduction, you will come as no surprise to you that a lot of my reading is concerned with business, with issues such as management and leadership. In a recent issue of the Harvard Business Review, there was a report on some research which shows that visionary companies often have bold missions or a powerful way to stimulate progress. The authors called these BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals. Those companies, all very successful over a long period of time, set themselves huge, daunting challenges to serve as a unifying focal point and to act as a catalyst for team spirit. These companies were prepared to aim high and dream big. As you go through life, make each day a day of learning. Unless you do, you will fall behind. You will stagnate. The mind needs to be constantly extended, and one thing you should have learned at university is how to learn. Remember, however, that knowledge is a fragile thing, and bear in mind the words of Voltaire, who said, and I quote, "The more I read, the more I meditate, the more I acquire, the more I am able to affirm that I know nothing." And Voltaire was very perceptive, because an empty mind is an ignorant mind. Do not let your knowledge, little and fragile as it is, to become a shelter of ignorance in the future. Make it a platform on which you will build knowledge upon knowledge, and one day this may develop into wisdom. Some of you have probably coasted for the last few years, doing just enough to get through. Well, just enough will not be adequate in the years to come, and you must set yourself goals of excellence that will require effort and determination to succeed. Anything easily achieved is not worthwhile. Anybody can run a mile. It's how fast you run that matters. We have this great tradition from our English heritage instilled into us in our childhood, that it is the game that counts, not winning. Well, if that be the case, why do we have scoreboards? Destiny is yours. Grasp it. Shake it. Mould it to help you achieve your objectives in life. And education has given you a wonderful launching pad to do this. Education should have given you the one precious gift that distinguishes you from the rest of the animal world. It should have taught you how to think. In all of this, the ultimate goal for you must be self-fulfillment. As you go through life, you will find that the most satisfying rewards are not the accolades of your fellows, but the satisfaction of the inner self. You and you alone, knowing that you have achieved something which is important to you. What others think is not as important. Go forth then, each and every one of you, and aim high, dream big. Thank you, Chancellor.
Chancellor, Mr. Justice McCrossan, Vice-Chancellor, Professor Webb, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me much pleasure in expressing a vote of thanks to our distinguished guest, Professor Ashley Goldsworthy, AO, OBE. As you have heard from the introduction, Professor Goldsworthy has had a most impressive and distinguished career in academics, senior corporate business, and politics spanning a period of 40 years. He has been CEO of the Jennings Group, CEO of Suncorp Building Society, Dean of the School of Business at Bond University, and Federal President of the Liberal Party of Australia, just to name some of his impressive challenges. Professor Goldsworthy, you can see from the nature of his address and his corporate background, has lived in a highly competitive world, what one might call the real world, for most of his career, and what he has done this afternoon is to give us an impressive exposé on the challenges and opportunities of life for our graduates after university. He emphasised the thought that we tend not to set our goals high enough, or perhaps stretch ourselves far enough, or perhaps challenge ourselves hard enough. He encouraged us to aim high and dream big. Professor Goldsworthy reminded us that we are a society where life has perhaps been made too comfortable through excessive social security and inbuilt employment benefits, which have the undesirable effect of making us less challenged and more inclined to accept mediocrity as the acceptable rather than stretch and drive for the pursuit of excellence. He highlighted the value of intellect and the distinct advantage our graduates have in this regard, and he encouraged them to use this and to pursue a lifetime of learning and to keep curiosity alive. He went on to suggest we should accept challenge and not be afraid of it, nor afraid of failure, for failure is the furnace of the soul in which your character, your determination, and your commitment will be forged. The examples he gave of the struggles and challenges of Navratilova and President Lincoln were of particular interest. These people had courage and sheer gutsy determination to succeed, and this of course they did in some full measure, as history will record. Professor Goldsworthy reminded us that knowledge is a fragile thing and should be nurtured and acquired. He supported this observation with the words of Voltaire: "The more I read, the more I meditate, the more I acquire, the more I am able to affirm that I know nothing." Professor Goldsworthy concluded with the advice that destiny is yours. Grasp it, shake it, mould it to help you achieve your objectives in life, and that in this regard your recently completed education has given you a wonderful launching pad. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we have been fortunate today in having Professor Goldsworthy, a distinguished Australian, give us his interesting address. I now ask that you join with me in thanking Professor Goldsworthy with acclamation.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony is now concluded. When the fanfares begin, please rise and remain standing as the Deus Party, the staff procession and the graduates retire. Thank you.
Commerce and Management and Education. In a few moments, the graduation ceremony will commence. The procession of staff will enter first. After a brief pause, the university fanfares will announce the entry of the dais party. I will signal to you that you are to rise and remain standing until both the staff procession and the dais party are seated. Please do not stand until I ask you to. May I also remind you that flash photography is prohibited in this auditorium. For the mutual comfort and enjoyment of all members of the audience, the university requests your cooperation in observing this rule.
Dr. Stephen Pinner, Professor Roy Webb, Mr. Peter Hobart, Chairperson of the Gold Coast Advisory Council, fellow members of Council, distinguished guests, graduands, ladies and gentlemen. It is customary for the university and its guests to gather as a body for the purpose of conferring academic awards on its graduands. Some of the most rewarding events in an academic year are the presentation of awards to graduating students. On behalf of the Chancellor of Griffith University, the Honourable John McCrossan, AC, I am delighted to welcome you to this evening's graduation ceremony and to thank you all for joining us as we congratulate each and every one of our graduates on their academic achievement. The successful completion of a course of study is dependent on many factors. An individual's motivation and commitment is paramount, but so too is the support they receive from their families, friends and peers. All the graduates and those who have supported them during their attendance at Griffith are congratulated on their success, which culminates here tonight on their receipt of their testimonials. Our special guest, Dr. Stephen Kinnis, is a distinguished academic with expertise in educational evaluation, research methodology, and curriculum theory. Dr. Kinnis will deliver the occasional address later in the proceedings, and it is with great pleasure that I welcome him this evening and thank him for joining us on this special occasion. Many of you may not be aware that Griffith is now the 8th largest university in Australia in terms of funded student load. We are a multi-campus institution with 6 campuses operating in the Brisbane Gold Coast corridor, and we have more than 21,500 students enrolled in an impressive array of undergraduate and postgraduate courses. Our campuses are situated in the fastest growing region of Australia. Whereas other states have experienced a decline in student demand for tertiary education, the opposite has been true in Queensland. In recent years, Griffith and the other universities in Queensland have actively lobbied federal and state governments, presenting a strong case for additional funded places. Our efforts resulted in over 3,000 new undergraduate places being awarded to Griffith for the period 1995 to 1999. 60% of these places have been allocated to the university's Gold Coast campus, and the remainder to our new campus at Logan. We are pleased with this outcome, but we will continue to argue the case for additional places to ensure that the community we serve has the best possible access to tertiary education commensurate with population growth in this region. Over the past 6 years, the university's Gold Coast campus has experienced particularly rapid growth, and student numbers have more than doubled. They have grown from 2,628 in 1992 to over 6,300 this year. The growth in student numbers has been accompanied by a significant increase in the range of courses offered at the campus and in the appointment of senior academic staff at associate professor and professorial level. These senior staff, who have international reputations in their disciplines, provide leadership in course development and in the campus's growing research profile. This growth in research is vital in defining Griffith as a university attuned to the future needs of the community it serves regionally, nationally and internationally. To accommodate the growth in student and staff numbers, the university has allocated some $50 million to support a major building program. The majority of these funds were drawn from the university's capital reserves. Those of you familiar with the campus from its days at the Gold Coast College of Advanced Education will particularly appreciate the significant improvements in buildings and infrastructure that has resulted from this capital investment. I have watched the growth of the Gold Coast campus with special interest. My involvement in the development of a number of private secondary schools in the Gold Coast region since 1980 has made me acutely aware of the need for world-class facilities for local students seeking to undertake tertiary studies. Prior to the commencement of teaching at the Gold Coast College of Advanced Education in 1987, Gold Coast students had no option but to leave home to attend college or university. The Gold Coast CAE provided local undergraduate students with opportunities to study close to home, with courses that reflected the needs of local employers and the burgeoning tourism industry, which is the lifeblood of the Gold Coast. Griffith has built on the excellent foundations of the Gold Coast CAE to develop a campus that is second to none in the country. Recently, it was conveyed to me by a graduate of the University of Sydney visiting the Gold Coast campus that the facilities provided in the new buildings and the quality of the technology available to students far exceeded, in many instances, anything he had experienced as a student or now observed at his own alma mater. Having visited several of the so-called sandstone universities myself, I wholeheartedly agree with that comment. But a university campus is much more than a collection of buildings. It is a dynamic community which brings together people from diverse backgrounds. Our staff and students are from all corners of the globe, and we welcome the dimension that brings. Although many students consider their period of enrolment to be a transition period in their lives, their contributions during that time are immensely valuable. It is that diverse mix of staff and students which has allowed Griffith to develop courses and curriculum which are flexible and responsive to the needs of the community we serve. Our graduates enjoy the benefits of studying at an institution which has a national and international reputation for excellence in teaching and research. Our staff too benefit from the Griffith connection. Professor Michael Irving, the former Pro-Vice-Chancellor and Director of the Gold Coast campus, is the 5th senior staff member to leave Griffith to take up an appointment as a Vice-Chancellor. I am sure that you all join me in wishing Professor Irving every success in his appointment as Vice-Chancellor of Victoria University of Wellington in New Zealand. It seems inevitable that Griffith's reputation is such that it is providing a career path for outstanding academics into positions of leadership in tertiary education. I should like particularly to acknowledge the involvement of our student body at the Gold Coast to the provision of facilities at the campus. The Student Guild has contributed to funding for the Link Building and Colours Cafe and has provided a number of recreational facilities. Students and staff enjoy the benefits of catering, commercial and recreational services managed by the Student Guild, and we are grateful for their commitment to the development of the campus. I should also add that the Gold Coast chapter of the Alumni Association is growing in strength and has developed an impressive program of activities for the year, including the gala ball scheduled for tomorrow evening. Our students graduating this evening are from the School of Arts, the School of Tourism and Hotel Management, and the School of Education and Professional Studies. These students have fully utilised the features and facilities which have been developed on the campus, and future students will benefit not only from the existing facilities, but also those facilities currently in the construction or planning stage. Dr. Brian King, Director of the National Gallery of Australia, officially opened the Visual Arts Building on the 3rd of November. Constructed at a cost of $4 million, the building has been designed to provide office accommodation for staff from the School of Arts and the Queensland College of Arts and postgraduate students. Its teaching space provides specialist areas for photography, pottery and ceramics, printmaking, life drawing and 3D art. This magnificent new facility will enable the university to develop new opportunities in conjunction with the Queensland College of Art for studies in creative and visual arts on the Gold Coast campus. The first exhibition in the new gallery, housed in the Visual Arts Building, was a display of works by students enrolled in the Bachelor of Arts in Creative Arts. Entitled Pink Rubber Gloves, the exhibition was opened by Cheryl Curnow as part of the Open Day. The School of Arts celebrated the opening of the Drama Theatre in October last year with a production of The Legend of King O'Malley. Students were responsible for all facets of the production, including planning for the opening night festivities. This real-life application of their academic study is an experience they will long remember. The drama theatre features seating modules which permit flexibility for teaching and workshops as well as stage productions. In addition to student performances, the venue will also feature productions by the Seventh Wave Theatre Ensemble, the Gold Coast's first professional theatre company. The active involvement with the wider arts community through our visual and performing arts facilities brings enormous benefits to our students who have the opportunity to showcase their talents and to interact with practicing artists in the community. Indeed, the Gold Coast has always been the home for a strong, active little theatre and musical community, which have staged innovative performances. The School of Tourism and Hotel Management has developed an enviable reputation. The school has undertaken a number of research projects for the Gold Coast Tourism Bureau and the Gold Coast City Council. Research in this area will be enhanced through the work of the Cooperative Research Centre for Sustainable Tourism, which is headquartered at the Gold Coast campus. I cannot overemphasise the importance of this research. I must admit I first visited the Gold Coast in the early 1930s when it was a collection of beach shacks and holidays homes, and I've watched its development over the years. There can be no doubt that the Gold Coast is one of Australia and the world's premier holiday destinations, and we need to understand and accommodate the needs of visitors to the area in order to maintain this position in the marketplace. In addition to research, the School of Tourism and Hotel Management provides academic courses which are underpinned by practical training and application. The training restaurant, CJ's on the Link, provides all students in the Bachelor of Hotel Management with first-hand experience in the operations of a restaurant facility. It is a joy to watch the progress of these students during their year of experience in the restaurant. From nervous beginnings, they acquire the confidence and polish required to deal with members of the public in a real-life situation. The requirement that all students must also complete a minimum number of hours in an appropriate industry placement in order to meet requirements for graduation means that our students have a unique set of academic and practical skills which stand them in good stead in the workforce. In 4 of the past 5 years, the School of Tourism and Hotel Management has won the Industry Education section of the Queensland Tourism Awards. This is an impressive record and is testament to the quality of the Bachelor of Hotel Management. Heartiest congratulations to all members of staff and students who have been involved in obtaining these awards. Griffith is the first Australian university to join the Pacific Rim Consortium for International Business Education and Research. Consortium membership is drawn from 27 elite universities from 11 countries to further develop international business education excellence. Membership of the consortium also provides opportunities for staff and student exchange between member institutions. This membership is of particular interest to students enrolled in the School of Tourism and Hotel Management and other schools in the Faculty of Commerce and Management. A recent survey by Coopers & Lybrand International found that 78% of university students wanted to work with multinational firms and that 69% considered the Pacific Rim countries to be the most dynamic places to work in the next decade. Membership of the consortium and the range of exchange agreements that exist between Griffith and universities worldwide will assist our students in attaining these goals. Our links with Pacific Rim countries have been further strengthened through the deed of affiliation signed between Griffith University and the Christchurch College of Education in October last year. The affiliation between these two institutions will provide opportunities for collaborative teaching ventures and for staff and student exchange. The School of Education and Professional Studies has particular strengths in special needs education. Over recent years, there has been a decrease in the focus of special education as a separate entity in favour of the integration of students with special needs into the general education system. The need for specialist teachers who can provide a quality educational experience for students with learning or physical difficulties, behavioural difficulties, or those who are identified as gifted and talented is of paramount importance. All children should have the opportunity to access positive and rewarding learning experiences, which will become the basis for lifelong learning. Griffith is a leader in research and teaching this specialisation, and our graduates are much in demand. Our graduates from the Bachelor of Education are ready to embark on their chosen careers. Many will choose to enter specialist areas and will, over the course of their careers, look to Griffith for further qualifications and professional development. As teachers of primary school children, you will have the opportunity to shape children's attitudes to learning and their perception of the important link which exists between education and fulfilment of their potential and their dreams. Let me assure you that our postgraduate courses are carefully crafted to ensure the professional and academic needs are met in the context of rapidly changing educational environments. We will be delighted to welcome you back into the Griffith community for further studies and activities as you progress through your careers. Graduates from 3 different schools will shortly receive their awards this evening. All the graduates have acquired the knowledge and skills called for in their chosen field of endeavour. More importantly, you will also have acquired a set of generic learning skills. Each graduate has the ability to critically analyse information and form considered opinions. These skills will remain with you throughout your lives. On behalf of the Griffith community, I congratulate all of you who graduate this evening on your extreme achievements and express our warmest wishes for your success in your chosen careers. I now call on the Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Research, Professor Dennis Lincoln, to introduce the Deans who will present the graduates from the faculties who are to receive their awards at this ceremony. Professor Dennis Lincoln.
Acting Deputy Chancellor, Professor David Saunders, Dean of the Faculty of Arts.
Acting Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Arts. Leisha Anderson. Megan Bailey. Adrian Brown. Karina Carmody. Vivian Chow. Sheridan Hargreaves. Joanna Hart. Lena Helden. Acting Deputy Chancellor, the next graduate has also been awarded the Arts Medal for 1997 for outstanding academic achievement. Imelda Jones. Valerie Mann. Rachel McClellan. Catherine Nevin. Yoko Yamagishi. Melinda Zigalicki. Acting Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Arts with First Class Honours, Deborah Carter. Acting Deputy Chancellor, I present two graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Arts with Second Class Honours, Division A, Sally Breen. Glenda Guest. Acting Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Arts in Communication. Helen Armitage. Tanya Badgerson. Daniel Carroll. Yvette Fillery. Deborah Gray. Ellie Halpin. Bryony Harker. Christy McPherson. Mandy Plum. Simone Sivka. Tiffany Wilkins. Jodie Williams. Acting Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Arts in Creative Arts. Ali Alizadeh. Ali Bond. Caroline Fuller. Brooke Fuzard. Evelyn Golding. Jodie Han. Angeline Kruger. Nina Lewis. Sandra McKenzie. Laura Ogden. Christy Payne. Regan Vivers. Acting Deputy Chancellor, the next graduate has also been awarded the Creative Arts Medal for 1997 for outstanding academic achievement. Rebecca Whiteley. Acting Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Arts in Japanese. Nathalie Arlit. Chantel Boyle. Acting Deputy Chancellor, the next graduate has also been awarded the Japanese Studies Medal for 1997 for outstanding academic achievement. Mandy Chan. Yao Tian Chang. Yu Chuang. Rieka Habermel. Annie Huang. Cassandra Jones. Dwayne Lawler. Roseanne Northcott. Sonia Shercliffe. Elena Smith. Ellen Wu. Acting Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Graduate Diploma of Film and Television Music, Elaine Sito. Acting Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Master of Arts, Carolyn Chong. Joanne Ridges. Acharya Siripun. Acting Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Master of Mass Communication, Mohammed Ahmed Weiss. Jasmuri bin Atan. Tek Kin Heng. Acting Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates of the Faculty of Arts.
Acting Deputy Chancellor, Professor Peter Brosnan, Dean of the Faculty of Commerce and Management.
Acting Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Hotel Management. Alina Baker. Michael Baruch. Tracy Britton. Astrid Buckshan. Joanne Bukowski. Stephen Canning. Kathy Ferrugia. Joe Feeney. Jasmine Ferguson. Darren Foster. Sheridan Green. Tia Haig. Anis Handiani. Todd Harland. Jolene Holton. Acting Deputy Chancellor, the next graduate has also been awarded the Hotel Management Medal for 1997 for outstanding academic achievement. Melanie Hunter. Sally Jones. Karen Kang. Danny Karzan. Ivy Lai. Leong Mei. Natasha Lewis. Young Il Lim. Michael Ma. Liesel Manninghaya. Stacey McIntosh. Olivera Milanovic. Rob Morrison. Sam Nam. Aaron Nielsen. Danielle Newell. Rebecca Nichols. Stanley Najaja. Alex Padovan. Lyndall Pierce. Shannon Peters. Tamara Plunkett. Susan Pernarwin. Jasmine Rasulovic. Glenn Robertson. Kylie Roast. Catherine Rush. Dana Rusu. Melanie Saxby. Mubachir Siddiqui. Chalise Simmons. Manjit Singh. Peter Suri. Vivian Su. Lisa Ulrich. Paul Underwood. Acting Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Business, Nicholas Kemp. Acting Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Hotel Management and the Bachelor of Arts, Japanese, Trish Burchett. Wendy Tu. Sim Wong. Acting Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Hotel Management and Bachelor of Business, Rosemary Chandra. Acting Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Master of Hospitality Management, Stanley Chang. Chiraporn Chirajatu Rasira Ratan. Sandy Deans. Raymond Fong. Sally Lin. Robert Steele. Christopher Vaz. Acting Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Master of Tourism Management, Kitty Tasayapan. Acting Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates of the Faculty of Commerce and Management.
Acting Deputy Chancellor, Professor Marilyn McManaman, Dean of the Faculty of Education.
Acting Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Education. John Alsop. Joy Atkins. Jill Bailey. Rachel Bentley. Tani Bertelson. Christian Brower. Amy Bullerwell. Brandy Clark. Corinne Curry. Angela Dimmock. Marty Drake. Marilyn Fernandez. Catherine Fawkes. Louise Gallagher. Rosalind Gillespie. Jane Guyver. Tanya Harris. Michelle Hudson. Tamara Kelly. Annamika Leo. Lydia Lofts. Tracy Longstaff. Michelle Mackey. Steve Mackey. Megan McDermott. Marie McHugh. Kelly Medcraft. Stephen McHale. Zoe Mitchell. Ashley Perrow. Susan Robinson. Kathy Ross. Kylie Russell. Monique Semple. Fiona Sokolik. Denise Statham. Joanne Stevenson. Bernadette Taylor. Mary Timmer. Belinda Woodall. Acting Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Education with First Class Honours. Acting Deputy Chancellor, this graduate has also been awarded the Educational Medal for 1997 for outstanding academic achievement. Sian Hatch. Acting Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Education Second Class Honours Division A, Lene Hunt. Acting Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Teaching, Paula Humphreys. Acting Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Graduate Certificate in the Teaching of English as a Second Language. Christine Baldwin. Daisy Goddard. Verena Hunniford. Juliet Parker. Alice Redshaw. Jean Richter. Lisa Rosengren. Diane Riley. Acting Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Master of Education, David Spray. Acting Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Master of Education Studies, Gail Alessio. Margaret D'Stasio. Maureen Egan. David Helsinger. Amanda Penty. Acting Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates of the Faculty of Education. Acting Deputy Chancellor, Professor Dennis Lincoln, Deputy Vice-Chancellor Research, will now present a candidate for the award of the University Medal. This will be followed by the presentation of a candidate for the award of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
Acting Deputy Chancellor, the University Medal may be awarded to a graduate who has completed the requirements for both a bachelor's degree of the university and a degree with first-class honours in recognition of academic excellence. Acting Deputy Chancellor, I am pleased to present a graduate of the Faculty of Education who has been granted the 1997 University Medal, Sian Hatch. Tonight, the University is proud to honour a Doctor of Philosophy graduate who has satisfied the rigorous criteria for the award of the degree. Acting Deputy Chancellor, Glenn Peter Russell, has been granted the degree of Doctor of Philosophy taken in the Faculty of Arts. Dr. Russell examined students' use of hypertext story writing in secondary English classes. Because screen-based, multi-noded writing encourages collaborative work and the use of graphics, it calls for a reconsideration of concepts of audience, author, and assessment. Dr. Russell's timely and significant study undertakes a comprehensive exploration of the emergent writing practices, offers appropriate pedagogical strategies, and demonstrates that the integration of hypertext story writing into students' textual experiences is likely to impel changes in classroom practice. Acting Deputy Chancellor, I present Dr. Glenn Peter Russell. Acting Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of Doctor of Philosophy graduates.
Ladies and gentlemen, there will now be a brief musical interlude performed by the Griffith University Collegiate Singers.
I call upon the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Roy Webb, to introduce the guest speaker, Professor Stephen Kimmon.
Acting Deputy Chancellor. Our guest of honour, Professor Stephen Kemmis, is the principal of Stephen Kemmis Research and Consulting Proprietary Limited and a noted specialist in qualitative research and participatory action research. Professor Kemmis grew up in Sydney and graduated from the University of Sydney in education in 1971. He completed his master's and doctoral studies at the University of Illinois in 1976 and worked as a researcher at the University of East Anglia in Norwich. In 1978 he returned to Australia and worked as an independent evaluation consultant to the Curriculum Development Centre in Canberra. In October 1978, Professor Kemmis took up a senior lectureship at Deakin University, Geelong, where he stayed until July 1994, by which time he was Professor of Education in Curriculum Studies, Head of the Graduate School of Education, and Co-Director of the Deakin Centre for Education and Change. His responsibilities at Deakin included a year as Acting Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Research, 1991, and 18 months as Chair of the University's Academic Board, 1993 to 1994. From 1994 to 1996, he worked as an independent consultant and with several universities, including periods as Visiting Research Fellow at Curtin University of Technology, Visiting Professor at the University of Tampere in Finland, and the University of Western Australia, and Adjunct Professor at the Queensland University of Technology and Central Queensland University. In 1996 and 7, he accepted contract positions as Pro Vice-Chancellor Research and then Deputy Vice-Chancellor Operations at the University of Ballarat, assisting the university in a time of major change and development. In September 1997, Professor Kemmis returned to independent consultancy work. He was recently made Emeritus Professor of the University of Ballarat. Professor Kemmis is well known for his publications in educational evaluation and action research. He prepared the articles on action research for the first and second editions of the International Encyclopedia of Education, Research and Studies. His most recent work has been his contribution and co-editorship of the volume Action Research in Practice, which gives an account of a cluster of action research projects undertaken through a project he initiated at the Queensland University of Technology. He is currently working with Robin McTaggart on the chapter on participatory research for the second edition of the Handbook of Qualitative Research. Since 1991, Professor Kemmis has been writing on the connections and collisions between post-structuralist approaches and critical theory in education and educational research and evaluation. This line of theoretical work has been further developed through an Australian Research Council funded project, Educational Research in Australia, 1972 to 1988, and has led to a variety of working papers and other publications. It is with very great pleasure that I welcome Professor Kemmis here this evening, and I now invite him to deliver the occasional address.
Acting Deputy Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, members of Council, distinguished visitors, staff, graduates, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the honour of your invitation to speak on this special occasion. To you graduates, congratulations. This evening we celebrate your effort and your achievements, but we also celebrate your family and friends and your teachers and the many others whose support has made your achievement possible. The formality of this evening's ceremony doesn't mark an ending, the end of your association with the university, though some of you have now gone on to other things. It marks a transition. You're no longer a student for a degree or diploma. You've now become part of a body of graduates which extends beyond the convocation of Griffith University to the great and timeless convocation of graduates from universities all over the world. You're in the company of Isaac Newton, Marie Curie, Nelson Mandela and Janet Holmes à Court, to name just a few. These caps and bonnets and robes that we're wearing today, this academic regalia, recall the 800-year-old tradition of universities. We wear this dress only on special occasions when we symbolise the university's most solemn tasks and obligations. Today, by the conferring of degrees and diplomas, Griffith University attests to your good standing as bachelors, diplomats, masters and doctors in particular fields and professions. Griffith has the right to confer these degrees and diplomas by an act of the Queensland Parliament and by a promise contained in its act to maintain the standing of its degrees by comparison with the degrees of other universities in the world, including the ancient universities of Europe. Most historians of universities take the view that the University of Bologna has the honour of being the oldest university. From its beginnings in the late 12th century, it was established in the early 13th as the particular kind of corporation from which modern universities evolved. But why then, and why in Italy? 800 years ago, Europe was in the throes of a great change, a time of change like our own, when a new kind of literacy was changing the way we thought about the world. While now it might be information technology, then it was the spread of writing and the use of writing to give documents which could create title to land. Instead of having a right of stewardship, just looking after land, as had been the case before, landholders wanted a new right of absolute ownership, which came to be known as freehold title. To establish this form of title, a critical question required answering. What should be written on a document to make it clear what a particular piece of property was, who owned it, and whether it had properly been transferred from one person to another? This is a rather critical question for people who owned land. So from about 1150, the most powerful people of Europe began sending their clerks and scribes to Italy in search of an answer to that question. They gathered in Italy because from there they had access to the great scholarship of the Islamic world, including knowledge of Islamic property law. Medieval Christendom learned the basics of its property law from Islam. Those gatherings of scholars planted the seeds from which sprang modern universities. The University of Bologna first came into existence when a group of scholars banded together to form a local guild of lawyer teachers, like a trade union. They admitted new members to their guild based on completion of an approved course of study. Around 1219, however, the Vatican gave this guild the right to grant a new teaching licence, the Jus Iubicae Docendi, the right everywhere to teach. This right was valid not only in the territory supervised by the Archbishop of Bologna, but in all parts of Europe loyal to the Church. This right, given to a self-regulating corporation of scholars, was the forerunner of the degrees given by our universities today. Once established, the idea of this new kind of corporation spread rapidly. In the early 13th century, universities with rights similar to those of Bologna were founded in Paris, Oxford, Cambridge, Salamanca in Spain and elsewhere. In each case, the corporations of scholars were granted the right to admit to degrees people who satisfied the requirements of the corporation. In this way, the university and the university degree emerged together as new parts of a social technology, a self-regulating corporation of scholars with the right to issue a license to practice and the license itself. And they both depended on a kind of literacy, making a formal record which gave evidence of rights. The testament you hold in your hand today is not only evidence that you've completed a course of study, but also a declaration by the university that you've attained a certain status. You're now entitled to be recognised as a person with the right to use the knowledge you've gained. In the medieval universities, three principal degrees were developed: bachelor, master and doctor, along the lines of the hierarchy of qualifications already established in the craft guilds. And by the way, you can see vestiges of these in these three chevrons on my arm for the 3 degrees of the university, like sergeant's stripes. In medieval times, a student of university was known as a scholar, a person who received instruction from a master. On satisfying the masters they'd properly learned what was expected, scholars could graduate and take the title bachelor. The title bachelor was a term in use in other contexts in medieval times, coming from a still older tradition. A bachelor was formerly a novice knight, one whose training was complete but had not yet assembled enough vassals or followers to fight under his own banner. Usually a bachelor knight joined the army of a more established knight until he had the means to put together his own army. The degree of bachelor is conferred on a person entitled to practice the craft, a qualified professional, but still a novice, not yet a master. A master is one who in medieval precedent has produced a masterpiece, demonstrating mastery of the field, usually a thesis for us. A master is also regarded as a person who can teach apprentices and teach bachelors. Some of you who've graduated as bachelors today will want to return to the university to have your mastery recognised by the award of a master's degree. The degree of doctor is the highest in this hierarchy of principal degrees. It's given to those who've demonstrated the highest levels of proficiency in their field, a significant achievement, an original contribution to knowledge, but also attesting to a person's standing as an authority in their field. Now, some of you graduates today will not feel that the titles Bachelor and Master are quite appropriate to your gender. Times have changed. For the first 700 years of universities or so, universities admitted only men to degrees, at least in Britain. The first British university to admit women was the University of London in 1878, 40 years before women had the right to vote in the United Kingdom. The University of Melbourne admitted women to degrees from 1879, Adelaide from 1880, and Sydney from 1881. Adelaide had tried to admit women from its inception in 1874, but was prevented from doing so by colonial authorities in Britain, who wanted to see a British precedent established before it allowed the colonies to grant women the right to enter universities. Most of the people here tonight have graduated as bachelors. Let me address my next few remarks to you. This is not just the close of one chapter in a busy life and the opening of another. The point of this evening's ceremony is not to mark the end of your studies, it's to mark the transition in status and standing from scholar to bachelor, from a person in training to a trained professional. You now have obligations, not only to practice your profession, but also to respect and keep up with and continue to develop the knowledge and craft of your profession. Of course, many of you have now taken on obligations to employers, but the degree you've attained imposes obligations on you too, quite independently of your employer. You have the obligation to achieve mastery of your field or profession and to practice your skill in a way which demonstrates scholarly virtues. These scholarly virtues are really one of the few things, perhaps, apart from our dress, that's sustained, that has been maintained through the process of evolution and change of universities. This scholarly tradition I'd like to just talk about for a moment. The late Ernest Boyer, at one time president of American University and director of the Carnegie Foundation for Advancement of Teaching, believed that university staff needed to take a wider view of scholarship than just that involved in teaching and research. He argued that there are four faces of scholarship and that all university teachers need to develop their work on all four fronts. He talked about discovery or research, application, integration and teaching. I think these all apply to you. They're the kinds of skills that you've learned here at Griffith University during your apprenticeship as a scholar in the medieval sense. First, I think you should do your best now to continue to develop the skills and virtues of the scholarship of discovery, learning to think and go beyond the information given, to inquire beyond the surface of things, to draw on the resources and traditions of your field, but find out also how you can advance it. Through your scholarship of discovery, contribute to the development of your field by sharing your findings with others. Today's culture might encourage you to think of knowledge as a possession or a commodity to be bought or sold, or more today, used under license. I'd like to encourage you to be open about advances in knowledge and to contribute to the growth and development of knowledge in a spirit of free inquiry. That is what has made our universities great and a great network of universities around the world. Secondly, try to develop the scholarship of application, learning to test theory and practice against theory, and by being a reflective and self-reflective practitioner in your field. Your community is invested in you, it might seem, through your attendance at the university, and perhaps it wants a return on its investment. But I urge you to do more than just repay that investment. Understand that your education has prepared you not only as an expert, but as a person privileged by your education. Your privilege is that you have a sense of the good for humankind, a sense that your work can be for the common good, not just for yourself or your employer. Through your scholarship of application, I hope you'll make a real contribution to the development of theory through practice and practice through theory, but showing how people like you can be ever better resources for our community as a whole. Third, develop the scholarship of integration, learning to connect your specialism with other specialisms While our culture today deifies the expert, and we marvel at what experts have achieved, we should also recognise that specialism can isolate the specialists and strain the bonds that make it possible for us to be in touch with one another as members of shared communities with shared fates. I encourage you to work hard at developing the scholarship of integration so you don't lose touch with the community which gives you your humanity, your well-being and your sense of belonging, the things that make you both yourself and one of us. Fourth, and no matter what field you work in, develop the skills and virtues of teaching. Learn to help others around you to understand what you do and why you do it. In particular, help those who work around you without the privilege of your training and education. Through your scholarship, help to refresh and revitalise your profession, your field, and the wider community that needs your knowledge and skill. Our culture today remains bewitched by the idea of a hierarchy of those who know and those who don't. Too often we think of this relationship as if it divided the world into two simple classes. But every one of us who knows in some specialised field is also ignorant. Each of us may have much to teach, but equally we have more to learn. I encourage you to develop the skills and values of the scholarship of teaching, because you will also, for the whole of your life, continue to be a learner. You're part of a great conversation of teaching and learning in which teachers also learn and learners teach. So I urge you to maintain your scholarship through these changed times for you. I'd like to conclude with just a personal reflection. When I went to University of Sydney in '64, I went as the first member of my family to attend university, for several generations anyway. I was overawed by the place and by its practices, the curriculum, and the life of the university beyond the formal curriculum, perhaps especially by the life of the university beyond the formal curriculum. I'd never imagined that it would be possible for such discipline and such freedom to exist side by side. I fell in love with the place and with the scholarly purposes that modern universities exist to serve. You can take the boy out of the university, but you can't take the university out of the boy. Griffith now occupies a special place in your life, and I hope in your heart. The years you've spent here are irreplaceable, for better or for worse. No doubt there have been highs and lows, but you've developed ideas and values and skills and friendships here which will have left indelible traces on your life. I don't doubt that one way or another your experience here has been rich and rewarding, nor do I doubt that in one way and another it's changed the course of your life and changed you profoundly as a person. Pause and reflect on that. There may have been things that you wish were otherwise, but some things you wouldn't change for the world. Treasure those things. Your life may give you the opportunity to give such treasures to others, to give them freely as a person, not just as part of the professional work for which you are or will be paid. I hope you'll become an active member of the Alumni Association of the University, the growing body of its graduates. That's just one of the ways in which you can continue to be part of its life and part of the conversations which will shape its future. But I also hope that on the basis of your experience here, you'll become a more scholarly and more human part of the great conversation which shapes and is shaping your community and our world. In the early 70s, as a foreign student at the University of Illinois, I was treated with extraordinary kindness and generosity. I was quite unprepared for it. I was astonished by the routine generosity of my teachers, friends and hosts. They were generous in their friendship, their scholarship, and in a range of material ways that made my life more comfortable. I realised I could never repay those particular people, but I also realised that they, in their turn, could not have been able to repay their teachers and mentors and supporters. As it had fallen to them, it would fall to me to give help to those who followed me and to pass on what I'd learned without expecting a reciprocal return. As you go forward in your life, I hope you'll accept a similar obligation in your turn. I hope it will be your good fortune to be able to give and give freely more than you've received. I hope you'll have the means to share your good fortune with friends and family, but that you'll also have the compassion to share your good fortune with the person who cannot repay you, the person who's different, the person who's less fortunate than you. Even older than the tradition of our universities is the tradition of our morality, the idea we have a responsibility to others who are not bound to us by kinship or friendship. No matter what your means, I hope you'll always be able to share food, friendship, compassion, and your education with the stranger at your gate. Thank you.
Acting Deputy Chancellor, Mrs. Bain, Vice-Chancellor, Professor Webb, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me much pleasure in expressing a vote of thanks to our distinguished guest, Professor Stephen Kemmis, this evening. As you have heard from the introduction, Dr. Kemmis has had an impressive career as a well-known and respected academic, holding many important appointments in a number of well-known and respected universities. Through his consultancy practice, Professor Kemmis is now a specialist in educational evaluation and educational research methodology. Professor Kemmis has given us this evening a most interesting address, which was largely, and rightly so, directed to our graduates, commencing with the history and development of universities some 800 to 900 years ago in Italy. He then went on to explain that at the commencement, a new development in property law started to change the medieval world, and how medieval Christendom learnt the basis of its property law from Islam. Professor Kemmis then at length explained how the terms scholar, bachelor, master and doctor developed, and the true meaning of these terms and the perceived expectations of those persons who qualify under each of these categories. It was also interesting to note that it was not until late in 1878 that the first British university admitted women to degree courses, and Australian universities followed shortly thereafter. Professor Kemmis explained that a degree marks a transition in a student's life, and that it is not just a ticket for the purpose of a job, but brings with it a moral obligation to share with others, both qualified and non-qualified, the knowledge and skills acquired for the betterment of mankind. Professor Kemmis quoted the view of the late Ernest Bayer, a director of Carnegie Foundation, on his view of scholarship. He suggested there were four phases of scholarship, namely discovery, application, integration, and teaching, and then he went on to expand and explain the meaning of each of these. Professor Kemmis then quoted some of his own feelings and experiences as a student, and encouraged our graduates to treasure the benefits they've gained from their university experience and to become active members of the Griffith University Alumni Association. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we have been fortunate here today to have Dr. Kemmis, and a distinguished Australian, give us his interesting address. And I will now ask that you might join with me in thanking him with acclamation.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony is now concluded. When the fanfares begin, please rise and remain standing as the Deus Party, the staff procession and the graduates retire.